how would let me think. I would say I've definitely picked it up a lot this year, especially the offensive side. I think my ability to of showing that I can do many things, and I'm not just kind of like a jack of all trades role wherever the team kind of needs me to be. Um, Obviously, I set the bar pretty high for myself, but I mean, honestly, there's some areas I still want to improve on my 3 point percentage. But other than that, I really it's an emphasis for me to make all defensive team this year. That's always been a goal of mine. But I mean, I think I'm playing decent. I'm playing good. There's obviously always room for improvement, but I can't complain.
And in kind of a similar vein, just where do you think you've improved? Since you arrived at Miami.
I think just my IQ. The game slowed down a lot for me. Obviously, it's my fifth year. Being able to just make right decisions at the right time and just make good basketball plays.
Marcus Benjamin from Kings County. Marcus.
Hi, Jordan. This season, you guys have had to come back several times to win games. Obviously, not the ideal situation I guess you kind of want to be in. But if you could just talk about the will of this team to not get down or just to battle back to win several games as you did this season.
Yeah, I think a lot of it stems from last year. We have a lot of players returning from last year. We had no one leave in the transfer portal. So, a lot of us has been in situations like that before. Obviously, we've added new pieces who've been huge and important, but I think the ability to show just poise down the stretch and be able to close out games when we need to. Obviously, we had 2 losses recently where we didn't. But I believe we kind of beat ourselves. No discredit to the teams. Obviously, they played hard. But just kind of learning from those losses and making sure that those type of games don't happen when it matters, like in March.
Go to Zach Macer from the Miami Hurricanes. Zach.
Hey, Jordan. Last time you were in Cameron, obviously the huge upset happened. Can you talk a little bit about that crowd and some of the feelings that you have associated with that place, especially just how you feel about playing there once again?
Yeah, they're called the Cameron Crazies for a reason. The gym's always electric, a lot of blue. Duke's they've made a name for themselves, obviously, with the success Coach K's had. Even while he's been gone, they've still been a pretty good basketball team. So, obviously the team's excited to play there. But, most importantly, we want to have success coming out of Cameron again like we did last year.
Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald. Michelle.
Hey, Jordan, I'm going to stay on that topic of that game last year was really one of the biggest upsets in the ACC going into that game. People didn't know at that point how good you guys were or that you were an Elite Eight team. That was kind of a big statement game. What specifically do you remember about that? I went back and looked at the box score. You guys forced 17 turnovers, which was huge, that they turned the ball over 17 times, and Charlie had 7 steals in that game. What do you remember specifically about that win, and how do you think these 2 teams are different than the teams that played last year, both yours and theirs?
Yeah, what was the first part of the question?
What do you remember specifically about that win, and how that might help you this time?
I just remember specifically how amped up we were to play there. And they were ranked, and although this year's Duke's team, they were ranked before. I don't know if they're still ranked. However, it's going to be a battle. We have something to prove. They have something to prove. The ACC has something to prove. I just remember that, the type of defense they played and how much energy went into it. As far as how the teams, you said how they're different this year?
Yeah, your team and theirs. Do you think it would be a similar game or a different game with the personnel this year and last year?
Each year, teams change so much. Even if it's just one player that leaves, the whole team, the dynamic can change. I think, styles of play will be similar. However, the personnel is obviously different. So it's just going to be a matter of who can adjust throughout the game, before the game, who's going to come out on top.
Go to Cal Friedman from WVUN. Cal?
Hey, Jordan. I kind of had two follow-ups. Firstly, to piggyback off the win at Duke last year, where did that win rank for you? Because you mentioned, they're the Cameron Crazies for a reason, but not many teams get to go in there and win. And then I also wanted to ask, you said you set the bar pretty high for yourself when assessing the way you've played this season. Where does that come from?
Okay, to answer the first part, that win is probably the best one I've had in my basketball career. I've won state championships and so forth, but going into Duke for my first time, honestly, and them being ranked number 2 in the country, it was huge. Where does the setting the bar high come from? I don't know. I just expect a lot from myself. I know what I'm capable of, and I know the goals I want to achieve. So that's kind of where it comes from. And just, at the end of the day, like I always say, I just want to win basketball games. So however that needs to get done, I'm willing to do it, step up and do it.
Any more questions for Jordan? Go ahead, Michelle.
Sorry, I raised my real hand and not my virtual hand.
Works too.
Yeah, Jordan, I want to ask you about Harlan Beverly and just what he's contributed. Recently, the last few games in particular, he's been a really key player. What does he add to the puzzle? To your team. What specific qualities does he have that you think help you guys?
Yeah, you could have asked me before the season. I thought Harlan was going to be a very big key to our success this year. Obviously, he was fresh off the back injury, so he had to work his way back into, just the swing of things. But Harlan brings experience. He's a fourth year. I'm not sure how much eligibility he has. I don't want to get that wrong, but he's played a lot of college basketball, and experience is always the best teacher. And having someone that can come in and defensively, he's just been a monster. Offensively, you see how he's getting into his rhythm. He can really play, and I think he's showing it. And I expect him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he even ups it even more as he gets more comfortable getting back into playing games and stuff like that.
All right, Jordan. Thank you very much for your time. Everyone else, thank you as well.